But what happened? Yeah, sorry about that. I was here. I was just talking, you know, giving my info, and then all of music to our ears. What did I just rewind you? Damn. Yeah, I was talking, and all of a sudden, I started receiving. Oh, times the 2 decade average. Okay, so I was talking, and all of a sudden, as I was talking and watching, I started hearing voice, so I went like that. But I was trying to figure out where it was coming from. But eventually, I found out. I had to restart, so I'm back again. Everybody, come on in, say hi, join, subscribe, share, follow. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I had somebody intercepted into my own live through TikTok, so I believe. Yeah, TikTok has got some stuff going on. So we see here the coup from 1960 to 2020. Look at that. During 1990, there was a lot of coup. 2000, it was video. 1965, wow, there was a lot of coup right there. So failure, success. Wow. You see, failure is the green one. Success is the so the success is minimal, but there's a lot of them going on. Yeah. So what we're talking about is Mali and Burkina Faso. They've been at war. Now they're just plain out saying it. We want you guys out. Niger, we need to change your government. Mali, you need to change your government. Burkina Faso, you need a change of government because we're not able to get our resources for free. So you're making us pay for it. We don't want to pay for it. So we're going to send military down there to take it by force. Okay. So HTS, ISIS, Al Qaeda are coming from Syria into Algeria, and from Algeria coming into Mali. Okay. And then we already have FNIM, JNIM, um, other Al Qaeda forces, Al Nusra, and so much more who are there right now and are attacking. But they had gone into these cities. So what Mali and other allies did was said, let them come into the city. And then as they got into the city, they saw it was empty. And right there, the Mali military started bombing and just destroying them just from the sky, just winning from the sky. So bad that now, oh, and before that, what did they do? They took all the food out. They took out all the food. They took out everything. So that when they came in there, they didn't have nothing to eat, nothing to do. So now they have to come out. So they're trying to get out, but they're blocked in there, and they're just sending the troops there. They're just sending Mali's just sending their troops and secret ops operation Marines and Navy SEALs from other countries will go inside that city and start taking those rebels out, and it's been a success. So good that they pushed them all the way back to North Mali, where they found the Afghanistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkestan, Kyrgyzstan people up there who are affiliated with Al Qaeda and HTS in northern Mali, above there. That's how far they've reached, and now they're saying that they're just white people. You can see uh, up there, so they're getting ready, and they said they're gonna push up all the way to Algeria. See, because that's where the terrorists are coming from. They're coming from Algeria, Mauritania, and Benin and Libya. So they're coming right there. Everybody's just infiltrating, coming in because the top of North Africa, the Sahara, now it's the Sahel. There's no resource there. So they got to come down to Central Africa. That's where Congo, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, Benin, and Mauritania, that the bottom of it. You see, that's where all the life is right now, because they already depleted everything in the north. Now they're coming to the south. They want to build another Dubai, each Kuwait, UAE, and other countries in their Saudi Arabia. They want to build new cities for tourists. So we were talking about the different types of coup that could occur, but Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have done a great job in making sure that that does not happen. So we have a palace coup in which one faction of the government illegally displaces another faction. Okay. Then we have the Putsch, secretly plotted and suddenly executed attempt to overthrow a government, typically by the military. Okay. Then we have a self coup, in which legally appointed leader tries to stay in government illegally, for example, by saying the election is rigged. And then we have administrative coup, illegally overthrown of a government, but achieved primarily without overt violence and relying heavily by claiming powers, intimidation, bullying, extortion, threatening media, and thereby seizing all powers, like we see in the United States. So between 2000 and 2019, there has been multiple of coup across Africa, South America. We've seen one in Venezuela this year, and we see another attempt of one in Iran, and we saw another one in Syria, and we had one in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and another country that we're not speaking of, can't remember right now. There was a coup there too. So the coups happen all the time. Now the coup in Africa is this. What happens is that the governing body will elect will create a party, and the party will come are the people, and the people will elect a representative to represent them. Okay, but before that, they have to vote for them. So there'll be multiple people giving out what they can do for the country to make the country better. So basically, they will send they will, what do you call it, verify you're a citizen of the country. You've lived here, where your parents. Okay, what are your views? Okay, since your views are about our country, okay, you can run. But when your views start being of another country or self-interest, then we don't think you're the one for the job, because you're a public servant. So when they find a couple of peoples, they put them up there. Who do you want to vote for? Who do you think can do the work? Let's see who we can vote for. They vote for them. Okay, they get them in power. They take power, not power, but they take servitude to serve the people. But guess what happens? All of a sudden, they get a phone call from somebody in the UK, and all of a sudden they're jumping on a plane and flying to the UK. And nobody. Then they get over there. All of a sudden, they're signing papers. People are like, what are you signing? What are you signing? You never spoke with that to the people. You never told the people what you're signing, or should I do this trade? Should I work with China? Could I work with India? Can I receive money from Ukraine? You never asked the people. You just went over there and started signing documents. And people are like, whoa, what's going on? See, that's the problem I have with voting for somebody. I can't be voting for somebody and I don't know what they're doing. I turn on the TV, I see the enemy standing right next to them. I'm like, whoa, 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 what's going on? These people just destroyed the economy in 2008. They fled to the UK, they came back here, and then now they're back in the White House giving orders. Like, we don't know who they are. They're like, forget about it. That was in 2008. You know, we're like, whoa, whoa, but wait, you're doing the same stuff again. You want to bring a faulty system. You already brought in illegal immigrants so that they could go to your job, so you could loan out vehicles, apartments and houses to them so you can make a profit. You basically giving them our taxes. You're taking taxes from one person and giving it to them. So the list goes long and long. This could cause, in most countries, this will cause a coup. But here, because we're full with immigrants, they don't know the history. They don't know what's going on. They're just here to work and work hard. So it gives them an advantage. But with those different kind of coups going on, you see, you got to be careful because over here in the U.S., I think that we had a self coup. The election is, they were doing with the election being rigged. But also, I think we had a coup before that back in the 1930s and another one in the 1980s because a lot of things changed. The people that I remember, the people that were running stuff were not around no more. They were put in jail or given medication, and that made them go crazy. So we see that while coups are no longer as common as once were, it still happens though. Coups are mostly come with dictatorship beginning and end. Yeah, that's true because a lot of people are tired of this person serving 60 years. Then he's gonna go put his son in charge. Same policy, same stuff. People are passing away and so forth. So it gets really complicated, you know. So let's look
The
right
last
here.
time the world
Coup
saw
d'etat.
this many in a single calendar year, in fact, was after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. The UN Secretary General went so far as to call it an epidemic.
But it wasn't.
Clearly, coups are not a thing of the past.
They're not.
But what's remarkable is how little they've changed. In 1968, political scientist Edward Lutwak released Coup d'etat, a practical handbook, essentially a step-by-step cookbook for would-be dictators. Today, over 50 years later, the same basic recipe is used to seize control of countries like Mali,
Mali.
Guinea, Sudan, and
Yes.
Myanmar.
Correct.
These dictators even look the same as they did in the 60s. So, how do coups work? Why do these steps seem to transcend time and place?
This is something a
And
lot
what
of
does
people
that
don't
tell
know
us
about.
about how to prevent them? Sponsored by Storyblocks, where you can find over a million high-quality stock coups, and it always pays to stay vigilant against them.
Some of that.
Still, there are some characteristics that make a coup more or less likely to succeed. We see that in their geographic distribution. Coups are not as common as this chart from earlier might suggest. Rather, a few countries seem to be trapped in a perpetual cycle. Of the countries which have seen at least one attempt since 1950, the average number during that period was 5,
Whoa.
or once every 14 years.
No, that's too low.
They've been a regular feature of Thai politics, for instance, since 19.
From 1912 to 2014, 15 coup attempts and succession. Wow.
And this is just a list of the successful ones.
Successful
If you
ones.
include failed attempts, there have been at least 30.
Wow.
The Sahel region of Africa, likewise, has been referred to as a coup belt.
Yes. So right here is central. This is central right here. And this is Sahara. Now it's the Sahel because the Asiatic African's been there for like 350 years, 250,000 years, just depleting the resource up here. It's all sand now, dirt. They don't know how to plant. They don't know how to keep the trees growing when they cut it off. They don't know how to take care of, maintain the land. They just, the animals just graze through. They eat everything. The trees goes down to eat. It's just destroyed. A paradise is now just a house and camels and goats everywhere. You know, and what you look at right here, Sudan, Chad, Niger, Mali. These are all oil-rich mineral resource. This is what supplies Ghana, Sierra Leone, Congo. This is what supplies the whole world. The resource right here. This is what creates your cell phone. your car, your TV, your clothes, your chocolate, or your sugar, everything, everything. You know, this is what creates them. Not Sahel, no. The Sahel is up here. You see how they moved the Sahel? They moved the Sahel down. Now they're already claiming it that this is the Sahel. No, it's not. The Sahel is up here. We got to get our things right.
Since 1950, Sudan has experienced 16, and both Sierra Leone and Ghana 10. Many of these countries are poor.
Now, Niger, Burkina Faso had three. It's not up here, but Burkina Faso had three coup attempts.
Yes, but not all poor countries are represented here.
Now, this is how Europe wants Africa to be. They want them to live like this. They don't want no change. They don't want no electricity, no light, no power, no energy. They just want them to live like this. This is forced upon them. This is saying, hey, whenever we need a body part, we need organs, we need to give donations. So what Europe does is that they make them poor. Okay, they were not living like this before. They weren't living like this before. They were living good. Now that the Asiatic Africans came in unalive, the people that were living there first, then the Asiatic Africans settled in, and then another group of Asiatic came over, taken over, and then another Asiatic Africans came and took over, and another one came and took over. They fight each other. They fight themselves. This is Asiatic Africans against Asiatic Africans. They're just fighting each other, as you see. So they're basically just this is what Europe want. You look at South Africa, how the white tea area looks good, and then they build a wall. They're told that they cannot have no water, even if you have the money. You cannot sell your own fruits or food. You can't go fishing. You can't do a lot of stuff. You can't make milk, your own chicken farm. No, they're banning all of that. They're saying that you could only eat food from China. That's it. Oh, but it's plastic, it doesn't taste good. We don't care. That's the only food you can eat. They're gonna take all the fruits, all the veggies, all the grains, all the seeds to Europe, okay, and to Asia, while the Africans get nothing. And they see you that's why they got the rebels up there too. They got the rebels up there. If they see you, they unalive you. That's what they're there for. Obama got really mad at the Nigerian government for going after Baruka, what is Buk- Baruko, um, Islamic State terrorist. You know who I'm talking about. BROKO Boko Haram, terrorist group. They come in, they unalive the men, and then they take the woman, okay, the females, and then they take them to a center. But the Nigerian military will come get those children and unalive those men and put them in jail for 25 to 30 years. Obama got mad. He got upset. He said, no, even if they unalive, burn, steal, and destroy, just let them go. Let them free. And then let them go back to Algeria, get some more training, come back and attack again. That's what they want. They want Nigeria to Africa to be a failed state. They want everybody out of Africa. They want everybody out of America. They want everybody out of South America so that the YT can have it all for themselves and determine your future like they're doing in Venezuela right now. I see that's why they got a female in charge because only a female can stay in
So,
that
what do these
position
in
and be
particular have in common?
walked on.
For starters, they tend to have a high concentration of power. As we'll see, coups rarely command a numerical advantage. They're surgical operations, not overwhelming displays of firepower. Our ideal country has a definite political center, a single capital city home to all the administrative and bureaucratic headquarters.
Okay. So the army's right here, headquarters. The parliament is here. Government palace, police, security, Bureau of Security.
AKA a single point of failure. The greater the separation of powers, the more branches of government will have to infiltrate. The same is true of redundancy in general. Syria's Assad, for example, maintained not 2, 3, or even 4, but 5 separate intelligence services.
Wow.
One might defect, but it's very unlikely that all 4 will. Besides, someone has to spy on the spies. Next, the ideal target has low political participation.
Yes.
Where revolutions are built on passion, coups, on the other hand, thrive on apathy. Dissatisfaction with the current government,
How you guys
of course,
doing?
is preferable to
Share,
satisfaction.
likes, come over.
The more important dimension is engagement. Though we'll probably want to package
We're talking
our actions
about
with some
coups.
ideological window
Talking
dressing.
about Mali,
Remember,
Burkina Faso,
we,
Niger.
the elite, are performing the coup, not the masses. We're not soliciting
As
rebellion.
foreigners with special
Quite the
interest
contrary.
in mineral
We want
resource.
to avoid civilian intervention.
Yes.
The population should know very little about politics.
Yes,
And
that's
above all,
US.
maybe their involvement simply doesn't matter.
Correct.
They're all the
Exactly.
same anyway, and who am I to change things are music to our ears. Now that we've chosen a target, it's time to move on to step 2, infiltrate. This crucial phase will almost entirely determine our ultimate success or failure. But set down your aviators and take off your beret, because this is largely an academic exercise. Our job is to draw one giant org chart of the current government. This includes everyone in the bureaucracy, military, and party, from the Prime Minister all the way down to his limo driver. Except, unlike one you'd find on the national website or Wikipedia, ours will include only the real sources of power. Corruption and simple mismanagement are likely to have produced a large number of pencil pushers and ceremonial leaders who we can safely ignore. We can cross off, for example, the 80-year-old general who everyone knows is all but retired. Now what we're left with is effectively a map of power.
Map of power. Okay.
Our next task is to divide everyone into one of 3 categories: allies, indifferent pragmatists, and enemies. To do this, we'll start by asking, do we absolutely need this person's active support?
Wow.
If the answer is yes, whether because they're a top decision maker or simply know the email passwords, our only option is to buy their support. If there are multiple candidates for a given role, we'll pick the less qualified among them. We want someone who feels underutilized, someone who's been passed over for promotions. With less to lose, they'll more readily join our cause, where we've promised them a shiny new office. Some, of course, will be tempted to alert the authorities of our plan. Luckily, we anticipate this and raise the stakes. Your superiors are already on board, we tell them. Joining us should feel like the safe option. We've now established our small circle of allies, but that still leaves a wide cast of characters, ranging from powerful military commanders to glorified mall cops.
Wow.
To identify the real threats, we'll simply ask, is this person loyal to the ruling party? Our enemies are those for whom the answer is yes. Many will be loud but powerless figureheads. They may even incidentally help our cause thanks to their own unpopularity. The others will make sure are distracted at the time of the coup, off fighting some distant war, for example, or we may even create for them a wild goose chase. Everyone else, which constitutes the vast majority, are indifferent pragmatists. Not loyal to any particular party or ideology, they'll sit back in silence while the coup unfolds, waiting to see how things play out. No need to worry about them. We'll slowly win their support as we consolidate power. Which brings us to step 3.
Planned Parenthood affiliates of California are fighting to elect Javier Becerra for governor because Becerra has spent his entire career protecting your health care. In Congress, he helped pass the Affordable Care Act. As Attorney General, he defended Obamacare in court against Trump's attacks. As Health Secretary,
Look,
he delivered care to millions.
these people are not listening to us.
And driving up costs. As governor, Javier Becerra will protect your coverage and fight Trump's cuts.
Democrats don't get it. I don't think they're listening to the people. We said we don't want this. We said we don't want no war. We said we don't want this Medicare stuff where we're paying for somebody else. We don't want that. They're still coming back, and then they're saying Kamala Harrison protected it. Like the woman is supposed to be. Everybody's supposed to be locked up. They're still running for presidency, government position. They put P. Diddy in prison. They put Bill Cosby. They put OJ. If you're black, they put you in jail. If you're white, they don't put you in jail. These people are supposed to be in jail. They're still out running for government position, talking about bringing universal health care back. And demands us to pay $900 a month for membership. No service. And then they got a nerve to show a commercial. And then they're going to freeze your channel so you can watch the YouTube. Look, this is just too much ads. God damn. Lord have mercy.
Freeze. If we've carried out the first 2 steps well, this phase will seem shockingly easy.
This is all they like
With
to
our
do.
allies in
This
place
is
awaiting
what they
instructions,
like to
one could
do.
argue the coup has already occurred. It's just that no one knows it yet. This, again, is what differentiates a coup. Although it's often performed by the military, it is not primarily a military operation.
Yes.
Ideally, in fact, no one will be killed or even hurt. It's
If they
best to
comply.
avoid creating a martyr or risk breeding discontent. Besides, we have neither an advantage in strength nor numbers. We'll begin this phase by freezing all movement, both that of people and information.
C-19.
Airports will be shut down, TV stations taken off the air, roads blocked, and the internet cut.
Wow.
Lack of information will make civilian resistance difficult. The average person won't even know what's going on. The disorder will be indistinguishable from, say, a natural disaster. Next, while our allies form a perimeter around the capital, a small tactical team will covertly enter the palace and arrest the current government. Upon noticing the turmoil, whatever army, police, and security forces are outside the perimeter will make their way to it. But our secret weapon, remember, is chaos and confusion. At the perimeter, they'll discover not hostile foreign targets, but calm soldiers wearing their exact same uniforms. 9 times out of 10, Occam's razor will prevail. When faced with uncertainty, the vast majority of soldiers will do as they're trained, await further instructions, assuming incompetence. Even if they suspect something is fishy, few, if any, will risk their lives on a hunch. Once again, apathy will play in our favor. By now,
You see, they're all puppets. They're being put by France, UK, Germany, all of them. So they're basically saying, man, it's hard because you got to be like Eritrea. You see, they're strict right there. North Korea. This is why these countries are communist. This is why they rule the way they rule, to prevent this. Because anybody who's out there talking, running their mouth, I could do better, and they're already in the military. This could easily
The
happen
opposition has
where
been
they overthrow your
silenced, the
government.
public thoroughly confused, and the physical symbols of power
This happened in Syria.
are occupied. It may seem as though the coup is complete, but note the word symbols. Power is not merely the possession of the telephone on the resolute desk, but the odds that the person on the other end will follow the orders spoken into it. We may possess the telephone at this point, but one could say there effectively is no government. Our task is to somehow transform this symbolic power into actual power. What we're attempting is a sleight of hand trick. We begin by deceiving just one person, convincing them that we already have power. Their belief in our power thus becomes our foothold, something tangible we can point to as evidence of our authority. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, a lie that, we hope, becomes true by virtue of speaking it. It's faking it until you make it. But be careful. This positive feedback loop can also work against us. Slow down or lay bare the seams of our rule, and resistance will develop. And as soon as one person resists, all others will be emboldened. Speed, therefore, is of the utmost importance. With each building we control, flag we raise, and law we pass, the greater the rebel or comply risk calculus will fall.
This guy, this is Chad. I think it's Chad, or I'm not sure, but his successor. This is a lie. They did a fake. Which one did they do? They must have done. They did a coup, but the problem is that nobody believed that it was a coup. Was a palace coup. It's supposed to be a palace coup in which one faction of the government illegally displaced another faction. Exactly, that's what happened. But the problem is that it was too fake, and everybody saw right through it because the successor, the person he took down, was a friend of his, and it was already planned. You know what I mean? It was already planned. People saw it, and people said, and he's doing the same thing as the previous person did. He's still working with France. He's still selling all the resource. The people are still starving. The higher taxes, selling everything from the organs of his people to the gold and copper and everything. There is no difference from the person he overthrew. So that's why everybody, and then everybody saw right through it because he was the right hand man who was working with the person he says that he overthrew. Then they
In
found them
practical
hanging
terms,
together.
this means as soon as
You know,
possible, we'll perform the
they're
ultimate
family
Demo
members.
cliche, a victorious televised.
This guy was put in power. He betrayed Burkina Faso. He betrayed the people by going back and signing with French when they unassigned with French. They said no more France. He got into power and then went back to France and started signing documents, putting the state back under France. And so they got him out. Then they put, our friend Ibrahim Traore in there, and now he's leading. So, but him, he wanted to he wanted to basically still be in charge, so he fled to Nigeria and other places where basically he is taken, basically where he is given orders into Mali to overthrow Ibrahim Traore, but he fought Ibrahim Traore knew, so they did the unexpected. They went and got um, this guy in another country and arrested him. They did a Navy SEAL, SEAL six, whatever, what they did to the Hugo Chavez. I mean, yeah, no, not Hugo Chavez, but what they did to the Venezuela president is what Burkina Faso Ibrahim Traore did to him, to capturing him. So now he's in um, Burkina Faso prison, and they want him free.
dress.
So you could get back
This
to
is why
working,
the old government was
overthrowing
illegitimate,
Burkina
and this is why
Faso.
we needed to intervene for the good of the nation/democracy/economy. To increase our authoritative momentum, we'll immediately institute a dramatic change in policy, redistribute land, kick out foreigners, or do something else rash.
Which is a lie. The only stuff they want to do is get the resource out. Start unaliving all the business owners. This is like communism. They just start arresting. You own a farm, you own vegetation, you own copper, you own gold mine. The coup d'état happens during, after they take over. During that, they start unaliving everybody, all the business owners, all the agriculture, gold mine, everything. They start putting their own people in charge, or they let them there and then they tell them, okay, follow the orders, do this and that, or we're gonna get rid of you.
Oh, and by the way, in case you don't see things the same way, there's no point resisting anyway. The battle has already been fought and won. Fill in the blanks. It's Mad Libs, really. Much of the international community will no doubt condemn our rule, but they will inevitably recognize it as it becomes clear they have no other choice.
Money. That's all they care about is money.
Now, although the active part of our coup is now over, statistically speaking, the most dangerous phase has only now begun. Recall from earlier the chart of coups since 1950. Of them, 242 were successful, and remarkably even 244 were failures. What this means is that if, and granted this is a big if, your coup makes it past the planning stage and becomes public, it has an almost 50% chance of succeeding.
Wow, hey, we've seen that.
Coups, as their similarity
Syria.
across time demonstrates, aren't really that difficult to pull off, at least in these countries. What is difficult is holding on to that power. That's because, if you think about it, a coup is both the product of a lack of legitimacy and a cause of it. Where they occur frequently, they become normalized. Each successful operation invigorates the next in a downward bottom.
Well, he's not telling you that there's assassinations that take place during this coup with people who do not agree. So there'll be a lot of quarreling inside the embassy, inside the government buildings, and that's where they start bringing in the body bags.
Spiral. The public slowly loses hope, believing none of it matters. Apathy sets in. Apathy, which makes the next one even easier. Thus, while it's often not enough, resistance, however small and however symbolic, still matters. Myanmar, for instance, continues to bravely defy authority, refusing, despite the country's turbulent and at times repetitive history, to succumb to numbness. And it's through images like these that we, thousands of miles away, connect with these important stories. Video transcends time, place, language, and culture. It's the most compelling way of telling a story, which is why I've used hundreds of clips from story blocks in my videos over the years, including this one.
Yeah, so he did a good job right there, showing that, and that's what we're talking about today, coups, and we see how the coup is going on right here in Africa and other places, and how a lot of countries are basically going through this because the more resource that these countries have, the more coups are going to happen. You don't want to give us it for free. You don't want to join us. You don't want to do this. So automatically, they already talk. Your military officials are going overseas for training. Your diplomats are going to places for contracts. They could be easily contacted. Numbers, everything could be hold. Operations 2 years. It'll take maybe for them to overthrow the government. So it's very hard, and this is what Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso are going through. That's why you saw before Burkina Faso with the coup that there was how many coup attempts what happened last year and this year? Like four happened last year, and 3 happened this year. So with attempted assassinations, lost count, more than 56 attempted assassinations on Abraham Traore, and another attempted assassinations on the Mali leader. He was out there when that attack happened with now Al Nusra, HTS, Al Qaeda, ISIS, and French. They saw French diplomats and military inside the trucks coming into the Takati, or the last Mali, into one of their cities, like 25 of them, so they came in there, they saw them. Everybody knows that it's France and the UK, they're the ones behind it, and the US, so you already know. So thanks for coming by. Tune in next time. We're going to talk more about the data coup and Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. We got to keep our head up and be updated on what's going on with our brothers out there in Africa. Have a good day, and thanks for coming by. You guys, thanks for coming by.